Hey there. I just wanted to let you know that next week I will be offering a free live VBAC prep workshop called Three Steps to Have an Empowered VBAC, even without a supportive provider. The two sessions will be on Wednesday, October 9th at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The second session is Tuesday, October 15th at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You don't have to attend both. You can attend either one, or you can attend both if you'd like. Again, this will be live. Some of the things I'll be covering in the workshop are how to shift from fear and doubt to confidence and empowerment when it comes to your VBAC, the power of effective communication and boundary setting, and how you can still have a strong support system even without a supportive provider. This workshop is perfect for anyone, whether you're trying to conceive or currently pregnant and preparing for a VBAC. Again, the two dates currently being offered are Wednesday, October 9th at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and Tuesday, October 15th at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to find out more and register for one of the workshop dates, please go to thehannahgill.com/workshop. Hey everyone. So in today's episode, I'm going to be answering a question that I get a lot from people, that I see a lot on social media, and that many moms are very concerned about, especially when it comes to VBAC. So the question is, do I really need a doula to have a VBAC? Is that a necessity in order for me to get my VBAC? So in today's episode, we are going to dive into that question. I'm your host, Hannah Gill, and this is Motherhood Flow.
Introducing the new Mom Talk podcast, your ultimate guide to navigating the journey of motherhood with confidence and clarity. Hosted by me, Mariela de Santiago, this podcast provides evidence-based answers to all those burning questions for expecting, new, and first-time moms. From pregnancy to postpartum, breastfeeding to sleep training, we've got you covered with insightful discussions and practical advice. Tune in to the new Mom Talk podcast and embark on your motherhood journey with knowledge and empowerment.
Okay, so like I said, a question that I get all the time and that I see all the time on social media is, do I really need to have a doula in order to have a VBAC? Now, I am a doula. I do specialize in VBAC. I became a doula after the experience I had with my doula during my VBAC. I do want to mention that there are proven benefits of having doulas regardless of the type of birth you're having. Some of those benefits include a decreased need for labor induction with Pitocin, decreased need for pain management medications like epidurals, shorter time in labor, potentially a lower C-section rate, less anxiety and depression during the perinatal period and postpartum, fewer negative childbirth experiences, potential reduction in birth trauma. All of those things are potential benefits of having a doula. Now, I do want to make it very clear that if you're going to have a doula, make sure it is the right doula for you. Because even though these are benefits in general of doulas, it may not be a benefit of all doulas. If you don't have a doula that is aligned with your birth wishes and the birth you want, if you don't have a doula that meshes well with your personality, if you don't have a doula that is very confident in the way that they practice and the way that they support you, there are some doulas that work for hospitals specifically, and ultimately their allegiance and they're gonna go towards the sides of the hospital in general because that is their employer. Not always, but a lot of the times that's how it's going to look if you have a doula that is employed through a hospital. Even private doulas, though, make sure when you are interviewing doulas, interview as many as you possibly need to make sure you find someone that fits what you want and need. Don't just go with the cheapest option. Don't just go with the person that has had the most births and supported the most VBAC specifically. Go with someone that is aligned with what you're wanting, with your personality, with your beliefs, with your philosophies around birth. And for VBAC specifically, if you're going to have a doula, you could look for someone that has either had a VBAC themselves, or they have years of experience supporting VBAC, or they have some additional VBAC education and training. Um, and that's not always necessary if you're going to have a doula for your VBAC. You don't have to have a doula with those things that has experienced any of that, but it could be potentially helpful. But again, look for someone that is aligned with your wants, goals, needs, everything. I personally had a wonderful experience with my VBAC and having my doula, but I hired my doula not because I was having a VBAC, but because I wanted to birth unmedicated. And that was my main motivation for hiring a doula because I knew I wanted to be unmedicated to give myself the best chance possible to have a VBAC. And I interviewed several doulas. I was looking for doulas that had either themselves had a VBAC, they had VBAC specific training, or they had years and years of experience supporting VBAC. And that's the situation my doula was in. She has been a doula for over 20 years, and she had supported multiple VBACs, and she had that experience and knowledge. She was also aligned with what I was wanting out of a doula. So she had a very maternal energy, and she was very quiet and calm and supportive and just made me feel very peaceful. So I became a doula because of the experience I had with her. And I became a doula that specifically focuses on VBAC because that is the area that I have personal experience in. And those are the births I am really, really motivated to support. So, do you have to have a doula in order to have a VBAC? Clearly, that answer is no. There are plenty of women that have had a VBAC without having a doula with them. Some people just don't want to have a doula. Some people truly can't afford a doula. Maybe they don't even know what a doula is. My first birth, I had no idea what a doula was. And then I learned about it and then got a doula for my VBAC. But it is not absolutely necessary to have a doula in order to have a VBAC experience or to have a positive birth experience. The reason for this is regardless of all the benefits of doulas and the extra support they offer mentally and emotionally, it doesn't matter if you have no doula, one doula, two doulas, or if your birth partner is super prepared and acting as a doula. All of these are external factors. They're external people. And it doesn't matter if you have these people there or not. If you yourself do not do the internal work and reflection and preparation and education and learning how to implement that education and knowledge that you have throughout pregnancy, if you don't do all that work internally and you are not in the right mindset with yourself, and your relationship with yourself and your pregnancy and your birth is lacking or needs work, it doesn't matter if you have a doula or not, because your doula and anyone else, your doctor, your nurses, your birth partner, your midwife, whoever you are with, it's not their birth. They are not you. Those are external factors, external people. It doesn't matter what they do. If you don't do the internal work in order to prepare yourself for the birth you want and for your VBAC specifically, then they could do everything in their power and you could still potentially struggle through your birth. All the decision making is on you. Your doula is not going to save you. Your doula is not going to make decisions for you. Even if you discuss it with your partner and your birth team and take recommendations from your provider, ultimately the decisions are still up to you. So, no, the answer is you do not have to have a doula in order to have a VBAC or in order to have a positive birth experience. Whether or not you want a doula, that is completely up to you. Again, if you want to have a doula for your VBAC, do the work to interview multiple doulas and make sure you are getting someone that is right for your birth, because any person that you invite into your birth space is a potential intervention. It is an intervention, and they have the capability to sabotage your birth experience. So you could go with the most recommended doula in your town, and they could completely not be aligned with you and destroy your birth experience. It doesn't matter if they have the most experience. It doesn't matter if they don't have any experience. You need to go with someone that is aligned with your values and what you want out of your birth. I do want to make a note about the cost of doulas because a big thing I see is that I cannot afford a doula, so I'm not going to have a doula. I've talked about this before, I believe. There are ways to afford doulas to make it feasible for you. So many doulas either have sliding scale or they do pro bono work where they don't have a cost involved. And then there are like doulas in training that will have lower cost or provide free services. There are a lot of options as far as like the doulas that either have lower cost, sliding scale, or offer scholarships. Another way is no matter if it's your first or your 10th baby, you have the right and the capability to make a registry of some sort if that's what you want to do. And you can have a fund on your registry for doula support, whether that be a birth doula, a postpartum doula, or childbirth education. So, say you don't even want a doula and you just want to take some sort of preparation course, you can register for those types of funds. If you don't feel comfortable doing that, a big thing that I did was for like all of my family and friends that, or whoever usually gets me like a birthday gift or Christmas gifts or whatever, I just ask them like, if you're going to get me something, please consider just like donating to this fund for my birth support. So there are ways to afford a doula. Again, don't just go with the cheapest option and call it a day. Make sure you're interviewing multiple doulas and then asking them, like, even if their price online says something specific, reach out to them and say, hey, do you offer a sliding scale? Do you offer scholarships? Do you offer payment plans? Because this is very common in the birth world for doulas. But if you're not going to have a doula, I do encourage you to do the preparation with yourself internally for your VBAC, whether that be like a VBAC course or listening to podcasts or reading a book or just talking to your provider or talking to your friends and family that may have experienced a VBAC. Do the preparation ahead of time to get that knowledge and education, but also learn how to implement that knowledge and education because getting educated isn't the only thing you have to do. You have to actually learn how to implement what you're learning and how to advocate for what you're wanting. If you have any questions at all about doula support and VBAC specific doula support and ways you could potentially prepare if you don't want a doula or you don't have a doula, reach out to me. You can message me on Instagram at the Hannah Gill. You can email me, reach out anyway, and I will do my best to answer your questions and help with that. But again, the question is, do I really need a doula to have a VBAC? And the answer is no, it is not a necessity because you are the only person that can be in charge of your birth and that can make your decisions and that can use your autonomy and authority and decision-making power for yourself in your pregnancy and your birth and your baby. Obviously, all the external people can give you input and recommendations, but ultimately it's up to you. And I absolutely love this question because it's a question that many women really stress about, and they're concerned that, oh my gosh, I can't afford a doula, or I don't want a doula. I don't want another person in my birth space, but now I'm scared. I'm not going to be able to have this VBAC experience. And if I do, I'm worried it's going to be like a traumatic and negative experience. And it doesn't have to be the case. You don't need a doula there. You don't have to have a doula there unless you just want one. Um, don't invite someone else into your space if it's not going to make you comfortable and feel safe and feel confident. Doulas are not for everyone, and that is okay. Again, if you have any questions at all, please let me know. I want to thank you guys again for listening. And if you could do me a favor and please either share your favorite episode of the podcast, leave a written review on Apple Podcasts, leave a rating on Spotify or Apple. Any way you can share or support the podcast in that way helps the show grow, but also helps me reach more women that are wanting to prepare for VBAC. So if you share on Instagram, tag me, leave a review on Apple, like I said, share with a friend or family member, I would greatly appreciate it. You just finished another episode of Motherhood Flow. For more, head over to thehannahgill.com or on Instagram at thehannahgill. As a reminder, this podcast is provided to you for educational and entertainment purposes only. It should not be considered a substitute for medical advice. Until next time, keep flowing.